Hey everyone, how are we doing today? This is James Sweeney, aka SplitSuit, and welcome back to another video. And as part of the Ask SplitSuit a Question series, a bunch of people asked hand history questions. This one came via Facebook, and Jesse prefaces the hand by saying, "Thanks for the great videos. They are really helping me improve my game. I was wondering you could critique a hand which I played recently." So Jesse, you're very welcome for the videos, and hopefully you enjoy this one as well, and I would happily review your hand. So this is a hand you sent in from a 1-3 live game. In this situation, you said you were playing a short stack strategy, bought in for 100, it doubled up to 200. I'm not going to say too much about that, but I always typically prefer 100 big blinds or more, but we'll work with what we have here. So in this spot, there's a limp from MP. You decide to limp behind, and this is a situation where I would most certainly raise it myself. I don't want to limp and just let control of the hand go to somebody else if they want it, or induce like a 50-way limped pot. I would much rather just raise. MP most likely has a pretty weak hand in this situation, so raise, attack them, and enjoy the control of the hand. Rather than limp, then you face some sort of raise, and now you're in a weird situation where you have to make some like very, very bizarre decisions, because if you do decide to call here, chances are you're getting involved in a pot where the SPR is going to be under 2. So it's a really, really awkward SPR where there's not a ton of room to draw, there's not a ton of room to take gut shots where you want to. It can be very tricky to play top pair, particularly when it's the 10. So I would, again, prefer to take control and raise over middle position rather than limp here and possibly let something like this happen. As played, you just decided to limp call. I'm not super shocked about that. You're getting a pretty good price at this point, but again, this is not the way that I would have preferred to start the hand. And cutoff calls as well. End up going here, check, check, and you lead for 50. So truth be told, I absolutely love this donk bet. I think this is fantastic. And it's a donk bet that does two things. One, it generates value from players like the cutoff MP and the big blind. And two, it creates a situation where you actually don't stack off against the button. Because if you donk bet here for 50 and the button decides to shove or even raises to just 125 or 150, you can be pretty damn sure you're against like jacks plus every single time. So it's a donk fold against the button, particularly in this situation. He's described as nitty, but a little fishy post flop, but I just don't think he's ever going to make that shove with like an ace king kind of hand, which means it's solely jacks plus. So I really, really like this bet. Totally for value. The cutoff is described as someone who's very, very awful, will continue with a lot of second best stuff. So I love the fact that we're betting and not just letting this get checked through, because I don't think the button's going to see bet here with things like ace king either. So I end up getting called by the cutoff, go heads up to the turn, which is a queen, and it's described here that the cutoff is looking a little impatient and some awkwardness happens, as it tends to happen in live games. So we ended up checking the button, the cutoff ended up firing for 103 in jams, and we decide to call. And yeah, totally on board with getting my stack inside. It's just, how do I want to get my stack inside? In this spot, I would just fire it myself. I don't think there's anything horrifically wrong with checking if you think that this person's going to fire wide, but I really don't just want to like check here, all of a sudden they check behind with something like a straight draw or whatever and get there for free, that sort of thing. I'm not super worried about the queen either. If this person is described as that bad, there shouldn't be too many queens in their range either. There's like queen 10 and maybe jack queen, but beyond that, you're going to be looking at a lot of things like 10x, pocket sixes, and whatever other garbage that someone like this shows up with. So I would just fire it in myself for pure value. In this situation, if it ever goes weirdness where somehow you end up checking and they fire, just call it and feel really, really good about it. In this situation, unfortunately, we end up losing to 3 deuce. So I'm not really too worried about that, to be totally honest. And Jesse gets a little bit nervous on the write-up, and he's like, I don't know, maybe I should have checked the flop, maybe I shouldn't have called with king 10, maybe he should have picked up on some obvious tell that was given in the weird turn happening. But honestly, don't even worry about this one. You're going to lose stacks sometimes, and it doesn't necessarily mean you made a mistake. This is one where the cutoff played incredibly poorly, just so happen to get there, don't even worry about it. Most important inflection points, again, pre-flop, should you limp behind or should you just go for the isolation yourself? And then as played, I love the donk bet. I love the fact that we're getting it in on the turn. Sucky result this time, but in the long run, you're going to absolutely crush this spot. So Jesse, thanks for sending in this hand, and if you or anyone else has a poker-related hand or question, feel free to leave it on our Google Plus page. Leave a link for that in the description box, and also please make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this type of video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Otherwise, good luck out there, and happy grinding.